Frogkit sniffed and pawed at his nose, which was slightly runny and covered in sand from the beach. That was annoying, but the young kit simply pushed his ears back and growled softly to himself as he pushed his nose back into the soft grasses along the border of Branch Clan territory and sniffed harder, his blue eyes narrowed in fierce concentration. Out of all the kits in the nursery, he was one of the best at tracking down scents. His only rival was Glowkit, and Glowkit was rarely out of the nursery or medicine den long enough to count. The bushes along the border of the clan territory were always full of fascinating scents, and today was no different. There, under the overpowering sour taste of the nearby Thunderpath, lurked the scents of several cats Frogkit was more than slightly curious about. Bearglow's faint misty scent was there, as always, at the head of the path that the white medicine cat often took when the others said he wandered away to the mysterious ruins. Lately, Moonpaw's wet sand and flowers scent had begun to walk the same path, and that tugged powerfully at Frogkit's curiosity. Why were the two of them walking together? And where were they going? For just a second, the kit wavered, almost losing his resolve for the path that he had wanted to follow, and nearly dashed after the medicine cat's trail into the forest. But a strong, fresh scent at the edges of the camp territory caught his attention, and Frogkit's eyes widened in excitement, an excited purr escaping him. There! The mud and cattail scent of Crowfeather, fresh and strong, right at the edge of the camp entrance. Frogkit sat up for a moment and looked at his chest to gather his nerves, trying to imagine what he would say to his father after following him. Ever since the huge fight that Crowfeather and Seawhisper had had a few days ago, everything felt wrong. The cats in camp were quiet, and both Crowfeather and Seawhisper seemed so sad that the kits were nervous to go near them. Frogkit and Minnowkit had gotten into a fight that Otterslip had had to break up, sending both kits to collect soft, dry seaweed along the beach to line the nest with, when Minnowkit finally admitted the fight had been about her not listening to Crowfeather about getting away from the Thunderpath like she was supposed to. Frogkit flipped his fat kitten tail through the grass, frowning as he looked harder at his chest. That's what he could say to Crowfeather, that it wasn't Crowfeather's fault. Frogkit knew how fish-brained his sister could be. Minnowkit thought that everyone would always think she was so cute and do whatever she wanted, just because she knew so much. But Frogkit knew that she was just a know-it-all, no-good, nosy jellyfish. He'd let Crowfeather know that he knew it wasn't Crowfeather's fault. That way, the way the kits in the nursery always teamed up together, Frogkit knew what it was like to be the odd one out. He'd let Crowfeather know that Crowfeather wasn't alone. Frogkit let out a determined sigh and pushed forward through the bushes along the edge of camp, his tiny eyes widening as he followed Crowfeather's scent to the edge of the cold Thunderpath. He had tried exploring just a few days ago, the same day that Crowfeather and Seawhisper had had their fight, and the memory of the angry warnings about how dangerous Thunderpath was still ringing in his ears. Still, the other side was clearly where Crowfeather's trail was going. Frogkit stood frozen at the edge of the path for several long, nervous breaths, then pushed himself out of the bushes and launched himself onto the hard, stony surface with a breathless squeak. A few moments later, the black and white kit reached the other side, running so hard that he launched himself into a bush before his paws could stop him. Just great, Frogkit growled softly under his breath and struggled against the branches, trying to pull himself free from the tangle. There was a flash of movement, and he lifted his head up, his small heart beating faster, and then relaxed as he saw Crowfeather's slim black and white figure, so like his own, slip past the tree trunks on the other side of the clearing, headed deeper into the forest. "Crowfeather!" Frogkit called out, excitement unfortunately making his voice squeakier and softer than usual. He had never been so far away from camp, and he wasn't sure where Crowfeather was going, but now that he knew which direction to go, it wouldn't be too hard to pick up his scent again. "Crowfeather, wait! Stupid bush! Let me go already!" Frogkit resumed his growling and bit at the branches that were tangled in his fur, more annoyed than anything. Just as Frogkit got one paw set back down on the ground, he heard a rustle from the bushes behind him. Suddenly, being stuck in the bush was no longer just annoying. It was terribly dangerous, and Frogkit felt his paws go icy as he realized just how alone he was. the constant presence of his siblings and clanmates no longer anywhere nearby. Gasping with fear, the kit began pulling harder at his paws, ignoring the way the bush's spiky branches clawed at his skin as he yanked himself free, his heart pounding so hard he couldn't seem to find any breath to call out for help. And then, as the bushes parted and a large gray cat came into view, Frogkit felt as though he had nearly swallowed his tongue, and wondered if the bush, perhaps, would be willing to swallow him back up instead. Life in the prickly bush was probably about to get a lot more comfortable than life in the clan nursery, now that Sea Whisper had found him. "Frogkit!" Sea Whisper gasped, leaning down and neatly plucking her missing kit from the bush with a rough tug, then dropping him on the ground in front of her, licking his head in a rough combination of angry growls and relieved purrs. "What are you doing in the meadow? This is dangerous territory, not to mention far away from the clan's camp. How could you put yourself in so much danger?" Frogkit lowered his large blue eyes and stared at the ground, flicking his ears guiltily at the sound of the worry and fear in Sea Whisper's voice. She was too scared, so far, to even be really angry at him, and that actually scared the kit more than he wanted to admit. "I wasn't in danger, though," Frogkit muttered, flexing his paw and glaring at a scratch that the bush had given him. "I was following Crowfeather. I would have been fine, 'cause he would have protected me." "Crowfeather?" Sea Whisper lifted her head, quickly scanning the meadow. "I don't see him anywhere, Frogkit. Did he say you could follow him out of camp? Because if he did, that's just so dangerous for the kits. And if that's the case, then where is he? Why are you here all alone? Did he just leave you?" Sea Whisper's voice was taking on a note of desperation and anger, and Frogkit flinched, remembering the fight that his parents had just had a few days ago. "No, he didn't tell me I could come. I just followed him," Frogkit muttered, filling his pelt flush with embarrassment. I just wanted to, and it would have been fine, too. I just got stuck in a bush before I could follow him into the forest, but then I would have..." "He went into the forest?" Sea Whisper's voice was almost a whisper, but the tone in it, so sad and shocked, made Frogkit look up in surprise. Sea Whisper was staring into the meadow towards the trees, near exactly where Crowfeather had disappeared, her eyes wide and hurt. Frogkit glanced over his shoulder and looked, but the forest looked the same to him as it had earlier, full of trees and thick shadows that Branch Clan didn't have along their beaches. Sea Whisper sighed heavily, and Frogkit turned back to his mother, feeling suddenly very small and confused. "That's the border to Moss Clan territory. So, he made his choice then." "What do you mean?" Frogkit meowed, his voice cracking as all the rumors and bubbling tension among the clan gossip that he had tried to ignore for so long came back to him. He hasn't left and gone anywhere. He just went into the forest. He'll be back." Sea Whisper looked down at her kit, her eyes so soft and full of gentleness that Frogkit instantly felt his small heart crack from the truth of what she was saying. "I'm sorry, Frogkit," Sea Whisper murmured, her voice distant and distracted. She licked the kit gently on the top of his head and looked up again, staring at the forest and sighing heavily. "I suppose sometimes it really is just too late to apologize," the silver she-cat whispered, her eyes glazed. With a shake of her head, she leaned down and gently nudged Frogkit, pushing him back towards Branch Clan, and away from the forest his father had just disappeared into. Frogkit stumbled over his paws, feeling stunned, but finally managed to swallow past the pain in his throat and glare up at his mother with large blue eyes, hurt making every piece of fur on his body tremble. You're wrong! It isn't ever too late. You were just too scared. I wasn't scared. I was coming to say sorry, even if it was dangerous and it wasn't my fault. But he left too. And both of you, it's both all of your fault. You're both cowards!" With an angry hiss, Frogkit spun away from his mother and darted back towards Branch Clan territory, too hurt and too young to go anywhere else but home with his broken heart. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Warrior Cats Challenge here in The Sims 3 with all expansion packs and quite a bit of custom content. And we are here in Branch Clan where, yes, a decision has finally been made, a very, very long, drawn-out decision that has been needing to happen for a long time now. And it appears that Crowfeather has actually left Branch Clan and he has headed off into the forest to Moss Clan. And the first thing that Sea Whisper actually wanted to do when she got back into camp was talk to Branch Star, and Branch Star actually had the want. We just fulfilled it of talking to Sea Whisper. So I think that says a lot about kind of where clan tensions and loyalty lay. Branch Star is probably not going to take the fact that his brother has left to go back to Moss Clan very well. I just don't see him being very, very happy with that. But we're going to go ahead and let these two kind of talk about it for a little while, because actually we do have a situation where Branch Star wants to be best friends with Sea Whisper. I think he is a little bit concerned. Like, I feel like Branch Star would feel like maybe it was a little bit his fault that mess was there, because he did drag his... Oh, did you see that? Glowkit, be careful! Glowkit did roll again today, and he's still okay. I always get so worried about this little guy. I was really surprised, because he's had some lucky rolls. Glowkit, if you guys don't remember, happens to have seizures. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. They're very... Oh my gosh, he's so cute. They're very, very deadly seizures, and so we're always worried that Glowkit is going to end up rolling to have a deadly seizure, and we'll have to use a rainbow snail to try to keep him alive, and will we have enough? But he has had some really lucky rolls lately, so every day we play in Branch Clan is kind of a threat to his well-being. And it looks like Meadow Kit is off to pester Wild Fang again. I imagine she wants to socialize and learn a little bit more about Wild Fang. Meadow Kit is a very curious kit after all, and she wants to know a lot about the clan cats. But yes, so I know the situation with Crowfeather was very, very drawn out, and we've had a lot of arguments all over. It's been very interesting to see all of the arguments amongst... Oh, and Quill, I just gained the playful trait. Oh, and he just gained the playful trait from a very important thing. He was actually playing with Coral Kit. So we have some people, some of you guys are like really, really worried about Coral Kit and saying that she's really neglected, but actually Quail Eye has kind of taken her under his paw. And you guys may notice that Coral Kit looks just like her dad. Look at that. Oh, look at that. I never noticed how similar Coral Kit was to Quail Eye before, but she really does look just like her dad. Oh, that's so awesome. I think he's going to go ahead and groom her for a little while. We'll have him nuzzle and then talk with her for a little bit, give her a good sniff and be like, hey, I should probably groom all that sand out of your fur. So he's going to share tongues with his daughter for a little while. And Quail Eye, all he wants to do is kits. He just wants to take care of his kits. He wants to protect his kits. He wants to watch over his kits. He just gained the playful trait because he wants to hang out with his kits. So I think that's pretty interesting. And he doesn't know the drama yet, because Sea Whisper, being the extremely loyal cat she is, very first thing she did was come back home and report to Branch Star what's been going on. And I think she's actually leaning on her leader a little bit for support, leaning on him a little bit for some strength, because it has been very hard on her to have fallen in love with Crowfeather. And I actually want to talk a little bit about their relationship for just a second. Wild Fang, I think that Branch Star would have just told you to go do some actual proper hunting. And this is interesting now, because Wild Fang does want to talk to Crowfeather, so we're going to have to see whether or not that relationship continues to develop. Like, if she happens to think, hey, I am a warrior now, if I want to go wander over to the another clan's territory and question Crowfeather, then I can. That will be very interesting to see if she'll actually try that out. But I think her dad, Branch Star, and her leader, he's also her like leader and dad, would have just told her to go and gather up some prey because the prey pile is empty. So we'll have her survey, and then we'll have her try stalking for some prey. She's not very good at land prey though, so I think she's gonna have to go ahead. I bet if she doesn't find anything from this land prey route though, she would use it as an excuse to head over to the meadows and see what kind of food she could find elsewhere. Technically she's allowed to do that now that she is a warrior too, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Wild Fang starting to take advantage of that a little bit more. But if she gets into a fight with anything, she does have a torn claw right now, so her fighting modifier would be lowered, and she would be a little bit of a weaker fighter. So we'll have to keep an eye on that too. Glowkit is being sniffed by, it looks like Sandkit. Sandkit's always really, no, it looks like Shellkit. Shellkit. Yeah, that's Shellkit. And Shellkit is always kind of watching out for Glowkit. So those two are extremely close, and Shellkit's always taking care of Glowkit. They're really, really close. I really like that. And then Branch Star, we'll let him and Sea Whisper share tongues for a moment, because they're going to exchange the conversation about what should be done about Crowfeather. And Branch Star is probably pretty upset. You guys will see probably a roleplay scene about it in a little bit. But Branch Star has a lot on his mind. Trout Shadow, to his knowledge, just flaked out and left the clan so that he could go and chase after some of the females over at the barn. And now his own brother, after Branch Star went through all of the trouble and all of the kindness of going over to Moss Clan and helping them out after the forest fire, now his own brother has left the clan. And yes, originally Crowfeather was a Moss Clan member, but I could see how Branch Star is just really questioning everything. And I think that he's going to feel really relieved that he knows at least Sea Whisper is loyal. And of course, you know, his deputy Quail Eye is a loyal cat, and his mate Dawnstep, a loyal cat. So I think that we're going to have a very interesting conversation with Dawnstep and Quail Eye over how Trout Shadow and Crowfeather may have left the clan, but I have loyal cats surrounding me, and that's going to be pretty interesting. So we'll leave that for a little bit. I think Minnowkit is a little bit worried. Yeah, and it looks like Sea Whisper does want to give Minnowkit a little sniff. So we'll go ahead. Minnowkit, nope, you guys stay here. We're going to give you a bit of a sniff. And then I think Sea Whisper would go get a jellyfish. Do you have a jellyfish? Branch Star doesn't have a jellyfish. I think he's going to go ahead and get a jellyfish. And he'll go hunting, maybe to look for a jellyfish. And I think that he would have to agree that Sea Whisper, even though she's still a queen, they're so low on warriors who can hunt now. And Sea Whisper is traditionally the best fisher of the entire clan. I think that Sea Whisper is going to be back on hunting duties, and I think that she would want to be too. I could really see her being eager to get back into hunting and telling Branch Star, don't worry, even if Crowfeather has left, I'm enough. I'm going to take back over my hunting duties. Also, look at Minnowkit. Minnowkit, that pride of yours really, really is what got the whole fight between your parents going. Oh, and then on that, because there's a lot of misunderstandings, it seems, Sea Whisper, a lot of people really hate her right now because they say she's overreacting. And the thing is, Sea Whisper and Crowfeather just had a relationship where the two of them never really communicated well. And if you don't have really great, like, upfront communication between a couple, then yeah, there's a lot of issues, a lot of problems that start up because of it. A wild mini python snake. Oh, Wild Fang. She's gonna get some acclaim for that. Oh, it's not brightly colored. I thought it was going to be a brightly colored snake, and always the brightly colored snake in our game represents venomous snakes. And Wild Fang, she's, managed to earn her warrior name by taking out a venomous snake, but her favorite thing to do is to hunt snakes. And I think that snakes, especially venomous snakes, have become her favorite food too. So Sea Whisper here, she's going to have to break the news to her kits. I think Dawnstep would be right there to support Sea Whisper. Otterslip especially would be really worried and want to support Sea Whisper because they're very good friends. And let's see, Otterslip is, she's goofing around with Quail Eye? Really? Aw, well, Quail Eye, that's really sweet and all, but you need to go and do some fishing. I think you would see your leader fishing and he'd call you over, because we definitely need to get a fishing crew over here. And then actually, in fact, all the goofing around needs to stop amongst all of the kits and everything. We need to get our warriors over here. So you guys may be wondering, like, why did Sea Whisper, like, why was she so overreactive? It's because kits are soft and squishy and they die easily. That's why. And Minnowkit is kind of like paying attention to her mom. Oh gosh, aren't they just so beautiful? Minnowkit is seriously one of the most beautiful cats I think we've had. And she's very young, so I don't think she would have realized that kind of what Minnowkit did when she was playing in the road, aka Thunderpath. Also, Branch Star, stop catching sharks before I have a shark generator made, gosh darn you. Is she kind of, those kids who can be like, well, but do I have to? And they're really kind of sweet, and they just sort of drag their feet. And so their parent, who normally would come down pretty hard and be like, yes, you do, like, kind of gets pulled into it. And they're like, well, that's kind of what happened. And that's why Crowfeather didn't yank Minnowkit out of the street as quickly as he could have, because Minnowkit was kind of playing coy toy. And it was one of those things where they both knew she would get out of the street eventually, but they just couldn't help themselves. And I think Sea Whisper would be spending a lot of time with Minnow Kit right now, trying to chit chat with her. And Misty Pond is really into Stone Pool lately, so that's going to be kind of interesting. And she's having a good day today, so I think she might think about looking for something to give to Stone Pool. She also wants to catch something rare, so that tells me that I think Misty Pond, in her own mysterious way, being Misty Pond, is probably going to come up to the ruins. Are you really up here, Bear Glow? Look, the thing is, there's no programming. That's just him. Above and beyond everything and anything that the game could do. That's just Bear Glow coming up here all the time. I don't understand why. He's here again with Moonpaw, and I did not send them here. Bear Glow, you're one of those characters who's so creepy. It's almost like you literally write yourself. I don't understand. I have plans for you, and then you carry those plans out above and beyond anything I could have dreamed of. You're a little bit scary. I'm going to be blunt. All right. And he's going to be training over here with Moonpaw. So I don't think they're going to be surprised to see Misty Pond show up. She wants to catch something rare and become best friends with Stonepool. So for some reason, Misty Pond, now that Trout Shadow is gone, has kind of been keeping an eye on, Stonepool. He's the next eligible male, and she always is thinking about kits, even though her brother's very adamantly against that. Also, Wildfang, I really hope you can catch that turtle, because I don't think it's going to be that hard to catch that tortoise, other than the fact it seems to be flying. So beyond that, Wildfang, I wish you luck at catching this little guy. It's kind of like, oh, there she goes. She's going to get it. She is after it. So hopefully Wildfang will do good there. Misty Pond's off. But yeah, Sea Whisper, the big thing that kept happening between Sea Whisper and Crowfeather is that they were very, very young. They're very young cats. It was their first big relationship, and they really didn't talk to each other. And any relationship where you don't have a lot of communication like that, another shark! You guys, now's not the time for sharks, and a swordfish. I'll make note that sharks are apparently more common along the shore right now, and we'll have to adjust accordingly. But yeah, anytime you don't have a relationship where the couple really speaks to each other, you're going to have misunderstandings. And anytime kids' lives are so fragile, and another shark? I don't know what's going on here, but this is not good. Okay, I'm sorry, you guys. Next time I will have a shark generator made, because they should not. I mean, I know there's a bunch of sharks right here, but usually they don't catch as many sharks when they're fishing. So I don't know what that's about, but I will have to add in a generator for that, because I have no idea why that's happening. All right, we're going to send Otterslip off. Oh, look at that. And Nightfrost is actually chit-chatting with Dawnstep. And Coral Kit, are you really grooming yourself in an impolite spot? You are. Okay. All right, and I'm going to send Otterslip off. I think Otterslip would come over to scratch on the cat condo and then see Wildfang hunting and decide to give Wildfang some tips, even though Otterslip hasn't been hunting in a very long time because she's currently an active queen. So yeah, but yeah, don't take it all out on Sea Whisper, you guys. Her kits are soft and squishy and easy to watch die, and she's just trying to keep them alive. It looks like she's being in charge of the training area with all the kits coming to play over here today. And the other thing is, I think Sea Whisper, she never planned on telling Crowfeather that she was going to have kits. She was going to let him go back to the forest like she knew he really wanted to. And then when he stuck around and didn't leave, it almost made it so that everything, all the blame for how unhappy Crowfeather was, got pinned on her shoulders, more or less for no reason, because Crowfeather just wouldn't admit what he really wanted. So Sea Whisper had all of these pressures, the pressures of her pride in her clan, her sadness over the relationship with Crowfeather going where it was, the way where Crowfeather just wouldn't admit what he really wanted and be honest with himself, and he let Branch Star's expectations about being a potential Branch Clan member win over. He let Lion Star's disappointment over him potentially leaving the clan get to him. Basically, Crowfeather just wasn't honest with himself, and Sea Whisper was trying to be too nice by not pushing him one direction or the other. And it led into this big, gigantic mess where neither of them talked to each other anymore, and it became very much what Little Frog Kit, who actually is suffering a little bit of a depressed bout, so his socialization is super low, and we cannot command him to socialize with anybody. He just has to accept socialization. Until like his depression goes away, which is pretty severe right now. But Frogkit kind of called them both out on it today, and he did say to his mother, who he really, I need to lower that relationship, actually took a huge hit with his mom. Very, very, very low. In fact, I think he dislikes her right now, as the way that kits often will. So I think that mildly disliking his mother is totally fine for the current relationship that they're in. But he called her a coward, and he just realized that this whole mess, all of the gossip in the clans, all of the tension, all of the way that the three kids' lives have been yanked back and forth while their parents fight, it just is kind of the mark of cowardice, because Sea Whisper and Crowfeather wouldn't talk to each other. They were trying to be too nice, and then they were trying to be like too much, expecting the other one to be a mind reader, and it just became a mess. But what you see here is actually something I really want you guys to remember and pay attention to. Look at Sea Whisper's two kits over here who look like her, who are hanging out and playing, and they're just kind of just fine, even though things are sad, and she's had to explain to them that their dad appears to have left the clan to go back to Moss Clan, and that's making Branch Star pretty upset, because he's got to do some serious thinking about what that means for his control of his clan. Clearly he is not controlling his clan as well as he should. Also, Coral Kit, what is with that face? Look at her, you guys. I've never seen that face on a kit. I think she is disgruntled by, I think Coral Kit may be one of those warriors who always wants to see the clan's prey pile overflowing when she grows up, because that is a really cool, angry glare at the food available. So I think we're going to go ahead and have Branch Star talk to Coral Kit. And Branch Star is going to be pretty upset about all of this. A lot of the tomcats in his clan have not been behaving, and Misty Pond, a termite, I don't think is going to count as a rare thing to give Stonepool as a gift. That's hilarious. Misty Pond just caught a termite. But yeah, Branch Star is going to be pretty upset about this, and we will see that in the future when he's going to have to talk to his clan about loyalty. And I think Branch Star is realizing that he's going to have to insert more discipline into the clan. And he's sort of surveying the kits and realizing that maybe if he's a little stricter, and maybe if they run the clan a little tighter, the patrols are more regular, they make sure they have training sessions more often together instead of just in their separate little groups of mentors and apprentices. Branch Star is starting to realize that that kind of discipline may be what he has to bring to the next generation of clan members in order to prevent them from thinking that they can just wander away from their clan duties and turn their back on the clan the way that Trout Shadow and Crowfeather have done. So Branch Star, enjoy chit-chatting with the kits. I give your sharks to the clan prey pile. I can't believe, why sharks? I mean, they can't eat starfish, so we'll just leave that be. And then a whole bunch of the food has still gone bad. Oh, that's so frustrating. The food goes bad when the cats can't eat it. If in case you guys have this happen in your game, when a cat starts to head towards the food and then they're interrupted and it drops from their queue, then the food is broken and the cat can no longer eat from it, which is very frustrating, especially when you have a huge clan with lots and lots of hungry kids to feed. Also, what does Otterslip want to do? Let's see. She wants to nuzzle Glow Kit, which makes sense. Otterslip is extremely protective of Glow Kit. And is Glow Kit over here? He sure is. Oh, and look at Night Frost. It's like Night Frost is coming over to help out with the kids too. I wonder why she would be awake in the morning. She's normally snoozing at this time. Oh, and Sea Whisper, I think that now that, oh, and she wants to playfully chase Night Frost actually. Let's have her go ahead and do that just for a second to kind of swap out the hunting duties with Night Frost. And Otterslip, it was like she was going to talk to Wildfang for a minute. Oh, and Wildfang, she's catching a snake. It's a brightly colored snake. Please, Wildfang, catch it. I wish I hadn't noticed you were catching a snake, because if she doesn't catch the brightly colored snake, oh, thank goodness she caught it. Then I have to roll to see if she got poisoned or not. She did it! All right. Congratulations, Wildfang. I have a feeling she'd probably go ahead and show that off, maybe to her brother, but then eat it. because she loves the venomous snakes, and she can be a little selfish like her mom Dawnstep. But yeah, just remember that, you guys, because a lot of what is going to happen with our cats and our clans is that they're not always going to make the right choice. And I see a lot of stress among a lot of our members who are like, why did such and such a cat do that? Why didn't they just do this? Why didn't they do that? Well, remember, they're very young in many cases, and they have the capability of having a lot of flaws right now. And Sea Whisper looks like the only thing on her mind is giving a gift to her clan leader Branch Star right now. So she's going to return to hunting for the first time since being in the nursery. And that's okay, because we have lots and lots of cats watching over the kits, and the kits are mostly old enough to eat solid food now, so that should be just fine. Oh my gosh, Glow Kit. Tripping in front of your mom, Otterslip is going to drag you, and Misty Pond. I don't think a termite or a pillbug is going to impress Stonepool. Oh my goodness. And Stonepool, he's goofing around with the kits again. Master the hunting skill, catch something extraordinarily unusual. We'll send him over to hunt with his sister for just a second, because he has really good luck with ground hunting. But yeah, so just remember that, you guys. A lot of our cats, they will make the choice that isn't the right one. And that is because that's where their story is. We, in real life, do not always make the choices that are the right choices. We make mistakes. We make choices that we're really embarrassed about later. We make the choices that hurt people. And they're not things that usually you do on purpose. They're things that happen in the spur of the moment, or they're things that happen while you're still developing your sense of who you are and what you want to do in the world, and having a sense of strength about your character and discipline about doing the right thing even when it's hard. Those aren't things that come naturally to you. They're things that come with experience. So before you start like ripping apart a cat and calling out for their blood, the way I've seen people like really hating on Sea Whisper, really try to put yourselves in their shoes, and remember there's a lot of character growth that you kind of have to ride out when the characters will be more selfish than what would be nice. They will be more dramatic than what would be appropriate. They will be meaner than what would be appropriate. And that's not because that's going to be their defining characteristic. They're not forever going to be selfish. Dawnstep, for instance, has really turned around from her selfish behavior, because she is trying to contribute more and more to the clan, and she is really taken over helping out with the nursery, even though she's made some really bad decisions recently with this last litter after all. So just remember that it's not always going to be like that cat is going to permanently be evil or permanently be selfish or permanently be really mean, but that's just part of where their character is currently developing. So ride it out and be patient and have trust that we will have more episodes and we will have more adventures, and I really love it. So we are probably going to be leaving Branch Clan now and going over to Moss Clan, and keep your eyes out, because you guys are gonna get the chance to vote on some decisions coming up for a certain Moss Clan adventure, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see where we're going to go from there. So we're going to have a lot more branching paths in the future, where you guys will be able to go ahead and vote on what will happen, like what path the cats should take. And I think you're really going to enjoy it, because both answers could be really entertaining, or you might send our cats into the pit of danger and dogs. We'll have to see. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.